Everybody, and welcome to another lesson. We're going to follow up on basically trying to make these lessons a little bit shorter. So, um, we're going to do a little bit of an experiment at the same time. We're going to test this out, see how it works. Okay. If you look on the screen, I have the first verse of the Bible, and it reads, "Bereshit bara Elohim et hashemayim ve'et haaretz." The question is, what does that mean? In English, it's translated someone else. This is someone else's opinion. They're telling you what they think it means. They think it means in the beginning, created God, the heavens, and the earth. Now our first lesson was on this word, shamayim, that they translate as heavens. And the reason why we did that lesson first is because that's the eye opener. Because the difference between shamayim and heavens is so big, it's so drastic, it's such a huge difference that it forces everyone to pay attention. It forces everyone to rethink everything. And basically, what I'm telling you as my viewer is you have been lied to. The person who translated these words into English, no matter how you look at it, whether you say it was translated from Hebrew into Greek, into Latin, into English, regardless of how you get to the English, this translator is telling you that these are men of God who are possessed with the gifts of speaking in tongue, possessed with the gifts of interpretation, possessed with the gifts of prophecy, and they're able to correctly interpret these words into English for you. Some people go as far as to say that you can reject these older words in Hebrew and you can just accept these English words. In the King James only Bible, that would be considered the King James onlyists movement. They believe that the King James only Bible is the one and only perfect interpretation, translation, so on and so forth. Well, and I am telling you that those people are absolute liars. They do not possess the gift of tongue. They do not interpret. They do not prophesy. And above all, they are 100% satanic individuals. They are preserving, copying, spreading lie after lie after lie. So, yeah, I do understand that I'm basically going to battle with King James onlyists. Well, I'm prepared to battle. Are you? Because right here in the first verse of the Bible is a word, Hashemayim, and everywhere on this planet it is translated as heaven. And we went over this. Go back and watch the video. It is not heaven. It does not say heaven. And you need these pictures, the pictures, not the letters, the pictures to properly understand. So once I've woken you up and you realize, okay, somebody's lying. Am I lying? Is the King James onlyist lying? Well, it gets even deeper than that because this is not just challenging King James onlyists. This is challenging Christianity. It's challenging the religion of Islam. Muslims. It's challenging even um, Jewish people because even the Jewish understanding is, well, this word is heaven. And if you look at your top scholars in the world, and I'm not going to name anybody. I'm going to try my best not to call anybody out, but just go and look at the top Hebrew scholars in the world, and they'll all tell you it's heaven. And we have a problem. because I'm helping you as a viewer identify when somebody misinterprets, mistranslates, misrepresents, or just simply flat out lies about God's word. So I'm teaching you. I'm teaching you so that you can't be lied to and you can't be deceived ever again. Never again can somebody trick you and get you to believe something that this word is not. Now, the only way I could get you not to fall for any of these deceptions is I had to teach you what this word was. I didn't teach you a translation. I taught you the word. You can translate it yourself. You understand the word is Hashamayim. You understand it is 5 pictures. You understand what each picture is. Go back in my other videos. If you don't, you can take these letters, translate them back into pictures. This is a picture of a man praising. This is a picture of 2 teeth. This is a picture of water. This is a picture of an arm, basically an arm and a hand. And then the last picture is another picture of water. Put all those pictures together, and what understanding does it give you? It's simply the separation between 2 waters. That's what it is. And in English, or basically in concept, we know that separation, that space between 2 waters, is outer space. So the difference between outer space and heaven, if that didn't open up your eyes, I don't know if I can open up your eyes. Okay. As Yeshua explains in the New Testament, remove the splinter of your own eye before you remove the splinter of your brother's eye. Well, I removed the splinter out of my eye. Now I'm trying to remove the splinter out of your eye. The splinter that's in your eye is this word heaven. It is a lie and it needs to be corrected. So those King James onlyists, those, I hate to say it, Christians, it doesn't matter, Muslims, and even the Hebrew, it doesn't matter. Every religion, at least the top 3, Christianity, Islam, and the Hebrew religions, have this Old Testament as this is the first verse in all of their scriptures, in all of the main religions of the world. This is it. And every single one will tell you heaven, heaven, heaven. Every single one, without question, it's heaven. And it is not heaven. Now, I did the lesson and I put this together in a way where you could understand. The problem is the lessons are long. So we go to the first word, now that I've opened up your eyes. And what does the first word in the Bible say? Well, guess what it does not say? It does not say in the beginning. That is not what it says. Those are English words. That's the language of Satan, and that is an absolute lie. That is not what it says. We now understand what it says. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to start with the first word of the Bible, and I'm going to do a recap, or basically redo the lesson as a challenge for those who wanted me to try to do this in a 15-minute window. So here we go. It's already been 8 minutes, but I'm going to bring up BaRaA. Here we go. Let's see how fast we can do this. Here is the Hebrew word at the top, BaRaA. We don't need this window over here anymore. I'm just going to blow this whole window up if I can, so that we can see all of it. Everything is on the left-hand side. We read from right to left, from right to left. So it's backwards from your normal English. This word is BaRaA. What I did is I took all the vowels out. I took all the spaces out. I pushed the word together so that we get the word BaRaA. Then I take the word and I break it down into the parts that we know. The best understanding is to break it down into 6 parts. However, for the sake of time, we're breaking it down into 3 parts. The first part is simply a B. You can see right under, I write in English what it is. It is a B. And you see the second part is the word Roche, and I break it down. I write RAS in English so you can see what those letters are. And then the third part is this ending, which is a Yud and a Tav. And here I write down YT representing a Yud and a Tav. You can also pronounce this word BaRaA. Okay. If you say BaRaA, it's fine. As long as you're in the window, we understand what you're talking about. Pronunciation is not a key yet. It will be in the future, but right now it's not. So now that we have this word broke down into three pieces, all we need to do is identify the three pieces. The first piece, which is a B, is simply a picture of a house. So I wrote house. I cannot make this any simpler. House, 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 house. It just simply means a house. The next part is a head. Rosh is a head, and it just simply means head. A head is a head is a head. There it is. It's just house and head. The last two represent works and marks. Works and marks. And here I have works and marks. It is a work, and the work is mark after mark after mark. When we write that in English, we just add an S. It just, for us in English, it's just an indicator of being plural. So I put the three parts together, and we have a house, we have a head, and we have simply a work with an S on the end of it. It's just works. But we read from right to left. So this is house, head, works. Now, what on God's green earth does that mean? It's nowhere close to in the beginning. So we're a long ways off. Well, house, if we remember, house has the understanding of in or inside. Now, that is not the only understanding. That is just one understanding. That is just one single interpretation. And it's the interpretation that we're going to use because it's the most common, most familiar. So house just simply means in. And as you can see, when we keep going, it just means in. It's going to remain in. We go to the next word, head. We don't know what kind of head it is. We just know that in some kind of head, there's some works. That's all we know. So we need to translate the word head. Just like we translate the word house into in, we translate the word head into day. And how can we translate head into day? Because when we read on into the Bible, it explains to us that this is talking about heads, which are days. So we can now translate head into day, and we would get in, day, works. In English, I've already said, it's just simply a plural indicator. Work after work after work after work after work, or mark after mark after mark after mark. It just simply means over and over and over. It just simply means an S. So if we put the three together, we have in, day, S. So here I've wrote it as we would say it in English. And we would say in days, or we would say in day after day after day. For those that don't want to accept that it's simply a plural, because in English it's plural, but in Hebrew it might not be plural. You might not say it's plural. You would have to say in day after day after day. Even in English, saying in day after day after day, we would literally translate that into in days. So in English, it's just plural indicator. That's it. So now we have the understanding of in days. Let me scroll down just a little bit. We ask the question, how many days? And we would have to read on into the Bible to find out how many days there are. Or Remember, we're translating head as day. So we could ask, instead of how many days, how many heads? And there are 6 heads. There are 6 days. Now, once we understand the number 6, we can now put inside of this translation in days. We know how many days. It's in 6 days. So now we have the understanding of the word BaRaA, and I've wrote it in English from left to right, so that if you are an English viewer, you can read and pronounce this word perfectly. Read this word and you will get BaRaA. BaRaA. Try to pronounce it any other way. I don't care how you pronounce it, as long as you're in the window. This is BaRaA. For the Hebrew speakers, here it is in Hebrew. From right to left, it's BaRaA. How do we translate it? I don't care if you're English. I don't care if you're Hebrew. I don't care who you are, what religion, what denomination. We've already been taught this, and it's simply in 6 days. If you don't want to include the 6, then you would just say in days. In days, it's simple, in days. Or if you don't want to include the plural, then you could just say in day after day after day. Okay, we're trying to make this concise, simplified. The most simplest and basic understanding is in 6 days. Now, I want you to notice something. This translation is in 6 days. That is a type of translation, and it is an English translation. Now, I've gave a little tip that when we're moved to the second word, we're going to have to come back to the first word. And there's a reason for that, because in this first word, we also have the second word present. The second word is inside of the first word. So we're going to have to come back to this first word. And right away, we're going to notice the problem. Because if I translate this word, I'm going to translate this word into 6 different things. And they are 6 pictures, and each picture has a name or a meaning or understanding. So for me, this word BaRaA will be house, head, horns, teeth, arm, and an X or a mark. So that's the way I'm going to understand this. If somebody says, Billy, interpret the first word in the Bible for me, I'm going to say, okay, I'll interpret it for you. Are you ready? Here's the interpretation. House, head, horns, teeth, arm, mark. Good luck. You're not going to understand it. Now, is that a correct interpretation? Yes, it is. It is 100%, 100% perfectly preserved, accurate interpretation. Go back and watch the video if you don't understand. They are all representations of days. 1 letter for each day, 6 days. Each is a different kind of term that you can use for the word day. The word day in Hebrew is yom. Okay. Well, we're not using the term yom here. So when we translate into the English word day, we're doing something that it's in a way, it's misleading. It's misdirecting, because if we translate this as in 6 days, we would also be able to translate this back into Hebrew as in 6 yoms. Well, how do you get yom? There's no yom here. Well, that's because it's an understanding. It's an interpretation. The reason why we don't get yom is because we have BaRaA. We have a house, we have a head, we have horns, we have teeth, we have an arm, and we have a mark. We don't have a yom. So the question is, what are these 6 pictures communicating? And the 6 pictures are communicating the word yom. In other words, how in the world do we get the understanding of the word yom? It has to be created, it has to be invented, it has to be understood, made up. And this is just telling us that these are just different types of yom. They're different types of days. So days or yoms can be referred to as houses. Does that not make perfect sense? Days are houses. They house whatever happens in the day. That day is the house of whatever happens in that day. They make perfect houses. They are heads. How are they heads? Because each day is a separate day. And as a separate day, it is the head in that particular day because there's only one of them. Just like the next letter, the Aleph represents, it's just one. It's just one single day. It's just one instance. It's just the lead it's just a particular single day. A day can be referred to as a house, a head, or an ox head. And we shorten ox head because we have head already. We just use the term horns because we have a head and then we have a head with horns. The ox head has horns. So I just say house, head, horns. Okay. Because what's the difference between the two heads? Well, one has horns, and the horns are what is really we need to pay attention to is the fact that there are horns. So we have house, head, horns. They all represent days. Days are houses. Days are heads. Days are horns. Days are also teeth. They're shins. They separate. Days separate things, just like teeth do, just like shins do. Days are perfect examples of separations. They are also works. Days are works. They are perfect examples of works. They are also marks. They are perfect example of all of the above. Days or yoms are perfect examples of houses, heads, horns, shins, works, and marks. Now, that did not even take us 15 minutes, so we're done with that lesson. Let's go to the next word, BaRaA, because that is today's lesson. So today's lesson, let's go back and do a quick review again. We discussed Shamayim. For what purpose? The purpose was to open up your eyes, to get you to see just how bad this God's word has been mistranslated. There's nothing else to call it. You can't say, well, a man of God did the best he could. No, he did not. I have taught you this word, and I don't care if you did the worst you could. You still can't come up with heavens. It's impossible. This is outer space, and this interpretation is not of man of God. This is Satan in the form of the English language spreading a lie. That's all it is. That is Satan himself possessing men, speaking through men with the English tongue. And there's your Satan right there. You can identify him. You can identify your Satan because he will tell you a lie, and he will tell you that this word is heaven. That is not true. It is outer space, and we've identified our Satan. Now that I've opened your eyes up, we went to the first verse in the Bible. Now, originally, we spent 4 hours on Shamayim, and we spent 4 hours on BaRaA. Now, I just went through BaRaA again, showing you that, yeah, we could do it in a 15-minute lesson, but guess what? You are not going to understand in a 15-minute lesson. The only reason you can understand now that I do it in a 15-minute lesson is because I've already taught you, which is proof that as we go along, the more you learn, the faster the lessons will go. So we might spend 4 hours on the first word, but we're gonna, as we learn more, we're gonna reduce that. The next word we talk about is going to be 2 hours. Then the next word is 1 hour. Then the next word is 30 minutes. Then the next word is 15 minutes. Then all of a sudden, you're not even going to need me to explain the word. I'm just going to say the word, and you're going to go, "Oh, I already know what that means." And it literally, you will be able to learn a new word in literally a second, a split second. Just hearing the word, you'll go, oh, I know exactly what that word means. But we need to get there. So I've retranslated, I've redid the lesson, showed you BaRaA. We did it in 15 minutes. How much understanding am I able to give you in 15 minutes? Not much. Is it enough? It is enough for somebody who's educated, and understands and has a good working knowledge. They know all the pictures. They know all the interpretations. They can understand. They definitely can understand. If you don't know Hebrew, you don't know the pictures, you don't know the meanings, then no, it is not going to help you. You're going to be lost. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this next word, BaRaA. I'm going to do it in what you call your 15-minute lesson. Now, I spent 4 hours educating you on the first word. So I don't have to educate you on the second word because I've already done that. If you don't remember, then you need to go back and you need to watch it again and again and again until you can look at this word right here and say, Billy, I know exactly what this word is. It is a house, it is a head, and it is a head with horns. In short, we just say horns. It's a house, a head, and horns. That's it. I know exactly what it is. It's house, head, horns. How do you say it? You say BaRaA. Okay. What does it mean? Well, they have told us in English that it means created. And I will say this is one word in English that is a pretty good translation. And that is simply because whether you say create, made, or you could even say form, they all pretty closely relate to this word. Now, is there more to be gained, or is it okay to just leave it as created? Well, that's up to you. Remember, I've already told you the interpretation that you want is not my interpretation. It's your own interpretation. You need to understand the first word, and ever how you understand the first word, that is your own personal understanding and interpretation. And you're given my interpretation or these others so you can see how closely your interpretation is. But you need to interpret this word, not me. I have already interpreted. I've already made it to the finish line. You need to interpret. So this is your chance. I'm going to go along 15-minute lesson really fast, and you're going to get a chance to watch me interpret this based on the fact that we've already went over these. You already know this is a house. You already know this is a head. You already know this is horns. If you didn't know that, then you probably need to start all over, go watch the lessons all over again, so that when you get here, you go, oh yeah, that's a house, a head, and horns. Now, what does it mean? All right, here we go. Bring up this lesson, BaRaA, and as I'm going to just go ahead and make it full screen. So all we see is the word BaRaA. So here we have the word right here at the top. It is in Hebrew, and it is BaRaA. BaRaA. I break it down. I break this down into 3 groups. Just like we did the first word in the 3 groups, this one's in the 3 groups. These 3 groups are translated into English letters so that we know what they are in English. So even if you didn't know what it was in Hebrew, you know what it is in English. It is a B, it is an R, and it is an A. And we know what these letters represent. They are pictures. And the B represents a house, the R represents a head, and the A represents horns. And I've wrote it below the letter. So no matter who you are, you can see this is simply a house, a head, and horns. And we put it together and we get a house, a head, and horns. That is as simple as it can be made. Now, I ran into a problem and I was waiting for a challenger someone like Dr. Michael Brown or Nehemiah Gordon, some elite Hebrew scholars of the world to challenge me. No one has challenged me, and for good reason, because if they actually watch this, I'm hoping that their splinters are removed from their eyes and they're woken up and they realize, well, they can't challenge me because what I'm telling you is correct, it's factual, and it's true. There is a problem though, because in the first word, I translated this word in the first word, just as we've translated it here as house, head, horns, and I translate house as the word in, or interpret. I'm sorry, we interpret house as meaning in or inside. And after we finish the lesson, we have interpreted the word head as day. So if I am going to teach in the first word that this is in and day, then I'm going to have to teach in the second word this is in and day. And then we're left with the horns, as I've translated as leader. So I have no excuse here. I must make sense out of in, day, and leader, or house, head, and horns, because I've already interpreted this as in, day, leader. So, in, day, leader, does that help you? Does that get you to understand what this word is? Probably not. Now, it's translated as created. It has something to do with created. But in, day, leader, that just does not help you at all, does it? And if you were a Hebrew scholar, or if you were watching my lessons, this would definitely be a chance to attack and say, let's see how he gets out of this. Because this is a second word. It's totally different from the first word. And he must translate these letters exactly the same, because they are the same pictures. It is a house, it is a head, and it is horns. It is no different from my BaRaA lesson. So if we go back to BaRaA, here it is. It is a house and it is a head. Now we don't have leader on here because leader is this A right here. It's this olive right here. So it goes house, head, leader. I did house, I did head, and we understand leader. Okay. So I'm left with the same interpretation when I go to my word BaRaA. I must translate it as house, head, and then horns becomes leader. So house, head, leader. Our house, head, horns is translated just like in the first word as in, day, leader. I don't really have a choice. Now, how do I make sense out of this? Because this is an opportunity for somebody to argue. People are just making stuff up. Okay, well, let's go through the lesson and let's see if I made anything up. So I can translate leader, as we did before, as first. As first. Whoops. Okay, so I can translate leader as first. We can also translate leader as one. So this is the problem with having multiple possibilities, is when you translate, you will have to choose a particular possibility based on context, based on perspective. If you don't use a perspective, you don't use a context. In other words, if we just use the pictures, we can't change the picture. So the fact the picture has several meanings is irrelevant. But these are not pictures right here. These are interpretations. These are translations. If I want to represent with pictures, then I'm going to use house, head, and horns. That means in the first lesson, it means I also used house, head, and I said this is an ox with horns. So I still have house, head, and horns. Okay. So in BaRaA, I have house, head, and horns. So I am using the exact same pictures, the exact same understanding. And just like I said in the first lesson, house can be translated as in. Did I tell you that you have to translate it as in? No. You can also translate it as inside. You can also translate it as with or by. There are many different ways to translate it. What about head? Well, head we can translate as day, but we don't have to translate it as day. We can translate it as something else. We can translate it as top. We can translate it as summit. The problem is that is based on perspective. It is based on context. So in the first word, I can translate it as day because when I put it into perspective and I put it into context, we see that it is talking about a day. Well, with this word, I need to figure out what kind of head this is. If I want to use the first word translation as in and day, well, I'm just making an assumption. I'm just assuming it could also be interpreted just like the first word. But that doesn't mean it has to be interpreted this way. It doesn't have to be interpreted as in day. It could be interpreted as inside top. Those are two different interpretations. Inside top and in day are two different interpretations. So what is the same in the interpretation? The pictures are. House head can be interpreted as in day or as in top. The pictures stay the same. The interpretations change based on context and perspective. However, I'm okay to accept the challenge. I will make perfect sense out of in and day. As we go down, I'm going to substitute horns for leader so that I get in day leader, which makes no sense. But I also know that I can also translate horns into first. I can also translate it into the number one. We can also translate it into father. We can also translate it into L. There are many words that we can put here. We can put in day L, in day first, in day one. They all work just fine. Now comes the part where I've introduced a concept to you, and the concept is called Rolodexing. So what I'm going to do is I am going to show you how to Rolodex. And what do I mean by Rolodex? I mean interpret. I mean understand. I mean come to know what this word is. So what I'm going to do is just like a Rolodex. As you go through a Rolodex, you find different names in your Rolodex. The first name in my Rolodex is horns. The next name in my Rolodex is leader. The next name in my Rolodex is first. So you see, I am Rolodexing these words. Just like head, I Rolodex head to day. I Rolodex house to in. Now, all we need to do is take this in day first and simply Rolodex it. We Rolodex it. That's what gives us the interpretation. That's what gives us the understanding. So let's try it and see what happens. Well, here's our first Rolodex. I have decided to take our first word and go back to our picture. Now, just in case someone was saying, look at him, he's going from the picture into some interpretation that doesn't have anything to do with the picture. Well, I'm going to go right back to the picture. Because now that we have an understanding that house means in, well, that's only one in is only one understanding. If I go back to house, I can also gain more understanding. If I translate it as in, that's all I get is in. If I go back to house, I also get by, with, and inside. I also get a lot of other understanding. So now I have a good understanding now. Now look at Rolodexing this word, how this verse now, how this word jumps off the page. If this word doesn't jump off the page and slap you in the face now, well, there may be no hope for you. Because if you read this, it reads in English from left to right. First day house. First day house. Now, first day house might not make any sense to you, but when I read first day house, my brain automatically completes the Rolodex. And I Rolodex all my possibilities. And I'm going to kind of show you where my brain goes from first day house. From first day house, it literally goes from first day house to first head house. So what I did is I've now took the second word day and I've returned it back to the original picture. So now I have two original pictures here. I have a house and I have a head, just like we're supposed to. But I Rolodex the last picture, which is horns, or an ox head with horns, and I've Rolodexed it to leader, to first, and along with a bunch of different combinations, I've realized, let's go back to our original pictures and understand this is the first day housed. This is the first head housed. Well, can we Rolodex any more? Sure we can. Now we understand what head is referring to. Remember, in the first word, head was referring to a day, a yom. What is a day? What is a yom? It is a period of time. So now I could say first day, first time, first head, first yom. This is the first time something is housed. Let's Rolodex it again. This is the first instance that something is housed. This is the first instance of this particular house. Let's go to another Rolodex. This is the first of a kind because we didn't know what head was. Now I know head can be many, many different things. So I am asking the question, what kind of head is it? I know in the first word what kind of head it is. It's a day. Well, what kind of head is this head in the second word? I know it's a head, but what kind? And it turns out that that's exactly what the word is trying to get you to understand, is it is not defining what kind of head it is. It is head in general. It means it can be any kind of head. It is the first time that any kind of head, pick any head you want and it will work. For example, I could say first cow head. A cow head is a type of head. This is the first cow head housed. Okay. I could make it a giraffe head, a monkey head, a person head, the head of a tree, the head of a mountain. I know that whatever kind of head this is the very first time that this head is ever housed. I know that for a fact because it's telling us this is the first time. Here it is. First time that this head, this house, it's the first instance. It's the first of its kind. Now, what does that mean? When you have the first of some head, the first of some kind, what does that mean? Well, it means that if we continue Rolodexing, I'm going to go ahead and Rolodex a few for you so you can see. We can Rolodex. This is the first of its kind. Let's say a cow head. This would be the first cow head ever housed. This would be the leading cow head housed. This would be the horns of the cow head housed. This is the horns of a particular head housed for the first time. And I am right back. I Rolodexed right back to our original pictures. A picture of a house, a picture of a head, and a picture of horns. What in the world do those three pictures mean? If you haven't figured it out by now, here's a good English understanding. I'm going to Rolodex some English for you. House the first of its kind. To make the first of its kind. To create the first of its kind. To bring into existence the first of its kind. To bring into being the first of its kind. To house the first of its kind. To give housing to the first of its kind. Or in English, how would we say all these things? If I didn't have the English word create, that's how we would have to say it. If I told you to create me the head of a cow, and I didn't have words like create or make or form, how would I tell you to make a cow's head? I would say, house the first of its kind. House the first cow head, right? We can understand make the first cow head, create the first cow head. How about bring into existence the first of cow's heads? Bring into being the first of cow's heads. How about give a house to the first of the cow? Give housing to the first of cows. It's literally bringing into existence the first cow. What it means is that we go from not having a cow to having a cow. And when we go from not having a cow to having a cow, what's the best word to call that? Create. That's what we say in English. Go from not having a cow to having a cow. Oh, you mean create a cow? Yeah, create a cow. Makes common and perfect sense. Create me a cow. BaRaA me a cow. House, head, and horn me a cow. House, head, and horn simply means bring about. It means create. So how would we say it in English, or how would I interpret it? This is how I would interpret it. BaRaA. Here's the word BaRaA. That's how you write it in English. This is how you write it in Hebrew. And if I was going to translate, which I'm doing, I'm translating for the world. Here it is. Using the same three pictures with understanding them. I want to house a head's horns. I want to house a head's horns. Housed heads of horns. Now, in English, these S's get kind of confusing because you can say head or heads. You can say horn or horns. And what it's saying is provide housing, provide a body. It means build or make the head of these horns. And what they are firsts. They're the first of their kinds. So if I wanted to house the heads of horns, what type of head would it be? I can simply Rolodex any word I want. You could put cow in there. House, cow of horns. What does horn mean? Horn simply means the first, the leader. So house the cow leader. House the cow first. The first cow. It's literally telling us bring into existence Now, the reason why I'm going over and over and over this really slowly is because I'm hoping as a viewer, you have picked up on what the house is. And I want you to come to understand the house without being told. So I've given you a chance to understand what this house is. And in case you haven't understand what the house is yet, it is simply a body. The difference between having a body and not having a body is the difference between existing and not existing. If you were to leave your body, you wouldn't exist anymore. Whoever you are, you would not be alive. You wouldn't be here. In order for me to know you, to experience you, you must have a body. And that body is a house. What is the house of the Lord? It's a body. The house of the Lord is a body. The Lord dwells inside of houses, inside of bodies. So when we say house, this right here, it simply means body. So there's a problem with the English language, though. With the word house, I could say housed and I could say housing. With the word body, if I wanted to say bodied or bodying, we don't use that word that way, and it doesn't make sense to us. What I'm trying to say when I say house, I'm literally saying like store it, house it. I am saying give it a house. So if I wanted to house a cow, I would need to give the cow a house, a home. House is referring to body. So if I wanted to house the head of, let's say this particular horn is a cow, then I must give a body to this kind. If the kind is a cow, then I need to give a body to a cow. Now, what is the difference between giving a body to a cow and giving a body to the very first cow? The very first cow is an example of what we would call creating BaRaA. This is a first time thing. This is bringing into existence a cow, a creation, but this is a special one. This is the first one. This is the horn. This is the leader. This is the number one. So this is for man, for example, it would be Adam. Adam is the head and the horn of mankind. He's the first of mankind. So Adam has the privilege of being that particular kind. So if we said house a head, house a kind, I could give body to a kind. And we do that all the time. We have babies all the time. We give houses to humans. We create humans all the time. But those humans are not horns. They are not atoms. They are not the first. They are not the number one. There's only one first, and that's Adam. Adam is the first. So what this word is telling us is we're taking something that is basically in thought, and you can make it up. It doesn't really, it could be a word. It could be a word. It could be a place. It could be a thing, a new creation. It's taking it from idea and bringing it into existence. And the only way you can bring it into existence is you must give it a house. You must give it a body. And this house or this body houses that particular head or that particular kind. So for cows, it means we need to give a body to the cow. It means we need to create a cow. It means we need to design a cow's body. But this can't just be any body. This has to be a cow's body. It's different from a giraffe body or a chicken body because the same word is used for all creations. When we BaRaA everything, whether it's man or animal or the Hashamayim or the Ha'aretz, it doesn't matter. It's all BaRaA, BaRaA, BaRaA. It's BaRaA after BaRaA after BaRaA. But it's telling us we don't have to identify what creation it is because it's not specific. It's unambiguous. It doesn't define what we're creating. It's just letting us know this is the head, this is the horn that is being embodied, or this is the head or the horn that is being housed. We are housing the head. It's not just a head. This is the horn of the head. This is the first. This is not recreating. This is not second Adam, third Adam, fourth Adam. This is first Adam. The first time Adam appears, that is BaRaA. Now, when one of us appear, we are an example, right? Because we are the first of ourselves. So if your name is Dr. Michael Brown, then BaRaA, Dr. Michael Brown, it means give a body to a man. In this case, it is the first Dr. Michael Brown. Now, if we made another Dr. Michael Brown, that Dr. Michael Brown would not be the horn. He would not be the first. He would just be another Dr. Michael Brown. But thank God we don't have that possibility. We can only have one and only one Dr. Michael Brown. We can have one and only one Adam. Now, as far as mankind goes, Dr. Michael Brown is also a representation of Adam. He is a head that was given a house. What kind of head? He's an Adam. He's an Adam that's given a house, a body. And as Adam lives in his house, there he is. It's another living Adam. Is this Adam, though, the horn? No, he's not the first Adam. He's just a representation. He's a doppelganger. He's another Adam, a different Adam. So BaRaA is referring to housing the head with horns. It simply means give life, bring into existence, give a body. It means create the first of its kind. And that's it. So if we use the pictures now, we should understand it's a house, it's a head, and it's horns. And we know what the picture is telling us. Give a house or house, you could say housed heads of horns. In other words, there were 6 heads, right? One for each day. Each day is a different creation. We'll just do the first 3. The first day is light. Second day is outer space. Third day is earth. Okay? So what did we do on the first day? Well, we housed a head of horns. Well, what head was it? It was light. That's what kind it was. We gave a house to light, the first light. There it is, day 1. Let's go to day 2. What did we do on day 2? We housed the heads of horns. What head was it? It happens to be outer space. That's what kind it is. It is also the horns. It is the number 1. It is the first of outer space. So what did we do on day 2? We housed outer space for the first time, the one and only outer space. Okay, let's go to day 3. What did we do on day 3? On day 3, we housed heads of horns. How do we do that? We provided a house to the earth. It's dry land. And it's not just any dry land. It's the horns of dry land. It's the first. It's the very first dry land. It's the very first of what we would call earth. It is the one and the only otters. We house or brought into being, brought into creation There it is. We gave life to this particular kind. And it's not just a particular kind. It is the number one, the first of its kind. It is the one and only Earth. So there you go. Now we look at it as a group, all 3 days. Do we say we created on day one, we created on day two, we created on day three. We created light, we created outer space, and we created Earth. How do we refer to all three of them? We refer to it as housed heads of horns, or we gave houses to a particular kind, and not just a particular kind. It is the horns, or the firsts of its kind. That is what created means. Created means to house the first of a kind. It's that simple. It means created. So there you go. There's the word BaRaA. Now, I didn't spend 4 hours. I spent, roughly 15 minutes on this. Yes, the lesson is an hour, but we basically did 4 lessons in 1 hour. Now, I can go back and we can do this BaRaA again, and we can spend 4 hours on it, because I got news for you. There is still more to be explained with this word BaRaA, that I could literally spend the next 5 years preaching on just this one single word, BaRaA. Obviously, we don't want to do that. We don't want to spend 5 years. So I just need to communicate enough for you to understand. Okay, I get the picture. That's what we've been missing. No offense. I'm going to have to find somebody else, or I really want Dr. Michael Brown to convert, where me and him can make these videos together and we can piggyback off of each other, because that's what Dr. Michael Brown was missing, is he couldn't picture it. Well, can you picture it now, Dr. Michael Brown? Because it's simple. It's so simple a small child can understand. The very first picture that's held up tells us, it communicates to us, you need to create a house. Okay. What do you want me to do with the house? You need to put a head inside of it. Okay. What head do you want me to put inside of it? It's irrelevant, but it will be the horns of that particular kind. It is the first. It is the number one. It is the one and only of its kind. It simply means it is a unique thing, because it is a created thing. Just like we can only have one Donald Trump, we can only have one of you, one of me. There's just one. When something is created, it redefines everything. In other words, you may, in thought, have a category called Donald Trump. But once you create the first Donald Trump, that first Donald Trump redefines the category. He is the horn of that kind. And nothing can take that away from him. Nothing can change it. You can make Donald Trumps forever and ever and ever and ever, but there's only one horn of the Donald Trump kind. And it is the first to come into being. It is honor of position. It's a place of honor and position, and it is the first of its kind. That is why light on day one, it's not just light, it is the first light. It is the number one. It is the horns of its kind. We know that the sun, moon, and stars are lights, but they are nothing like the horn of light. We have separations. We have many separations, but none are like the horn of separations, outer space. We have many examples of land, but our whether you want to say dry land or just land, we have many examples of lands, islands, and continents, but there's only one. There's only one ha'aretz. There's only one horn of what we would call dry land or of earth. There's only one. In your imagination, in your mind, you can picture, I'm going to recreate the earth, and you can go recreate the earth all day long. You can draw picture after picture after picture. You can make movie after movie after movie, write story after story after story. And guess what? All them earths, none of them are the horn of earth. The horn of earth is on day 3. There is the horn of earth. There is an example of BaRaA. It is the first of its kind. It is the first of what we would call earth being brought into existence, being given a house. There you have it. So now, I hope you guys understand. And all I can say is if your eyes aren't open yet, I don't know if I can open up your eyes. Now, we go back and we've learned 3 words. So what are the 3 words? It is in 6 days. In 6 days, provided houses to the firsts of its kind. We understand. In 6 days, provided houses to the heads and horns of everything. And an example of this 6 days of providing a house to the head and horn of a particular kind. We have 2 examples. One is Shamayim. It is the horn of shins. It is the number 1. It's the shin of all shins. There it is, outer space. We have a second example, and it is ha'aretz. It is aretz. It is the earth. It is the horn of its kind. It is the first and only. It's the number 1. It is the idea of earth brought into existence. Here it is. Here it is before the world for everyone to see. It's so simple, a small child can understand. Hey, small child, in six literal 24-hour days, the Father, the Creator, He gave houses to the heads and horns of certain kinds. We have an example of a head and horn of a certain kind. Shamayim. Shamayim is a head, which is a shin. It is a kind, which is a shin. And it is a horn of that kind because it is the first. It is the first of its kind. And God gave a house to it, a body, He brought it into being. It come into existence. And ha'aretz is another example of inside of 6 days, God providing a house for certain heads and horns. And this ha'aretz is another example of a head and horn. It is a head because it is a kind. It is a different kind, and it's not a separation like Shamayim. It is a kind. It is dry land. And it is the horns of dry land because it's the first of its kind. It's the one and only earth. And there you have it. I think a little kid can understand. In 6 days, God, BaRaA, He created everything. He provided being. He provided life. He provided existence. He provided houses. In 6 days, He provided houses to His creations. It's that simple. In 6 days, God provided houses for His creations. There you go. All right, that's it for this lesson. May Yehovah bless you and keep you. And I'll see you in the next video.